All right, guys, today we are here with AC Ramos, the infamous, the famous, the greatest AC Ramos. Appreciate you coming on, man. Hey, look, I was a little nervous because you came down with something that I was dealing with at this time last year. And I appreciate you taking, an hour out of your day. I really do appreciate it. So, AC, thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on here, man. I appreciate everything that Jet does in the industry, and especially you've helped me out on a bunch of stuff, and we work really well together. So I'm always here for anything you need, man.
Yes, sir. So AC came down with the vid this week, and he couldn't be here live and in person. So we've decided to do this apart because I definitely don't want it twice. And I don't think,
yeah, right.
And
I actually think this is my second time.
Yeah, I've only had it once, and I don't want it again. I can definitely tell you that. But AC, thank you so much for coming on Trigger Points this week. I know you're not feeling 100%, but man, I really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Good, brother.
So AC, like everybody else, we kind of talk about how did you get started in the industry? You there? AC. AC. Are you there?
I'm here.
Guess we're having a little technical difficulty. AC, are you there?
Damn.
Hey, you back? AC.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're cutting out on me.
All right.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah, I guess we got you back.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so like everybody else that we've interviewed on this, kind of tell everybody how you got your start in the industry.
Actually, my start came kind of interesting because I was actually coming out of prison for the second time when I was 21 years old, and went to visit a friend of mine, and the friend of mine who rented me his house so I could run the business that actually put me in jail out of his house. And then when I was visiting him, he was telling me that when I went into foreclosure, his truck got repoed. All of our friends stopped talking to him, and looking at his property to buy it, a pretty big name company, and they were talking to him about it. And I said, look, whatever they do, he said he owed $28,000 on the house, and they came and offered him $27,000. And I was like, don't take it. I'll figure out a way to get you more money. And went and talked to my aunt and some family members and partnered with my aunt to do that deal the first time. And we bought that property for $33,000, and we put $22,000 into fixing it. So we were into it for like $55,000, and we ended up selling it for $84,000. And that was my very first real estate deal coming out of prison when I was 21 years old.
Awesome.
And that's kind of how I fell into it.
Well, I mean, hey, everybody's got their own unique start to everything, And the one thing that I've learned from you over the years is that, hey, you started from basically bottom of the barrel and have moved up in the industry, just by taking chances, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a risk taker. Calculated risks, I believe. I believe it's all about calculated risks.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. On your first deal, were you nervous in any way?
Oh, yeah. I think if you're not nervous, that's when you're capable of making bigger mistakes. One, you can make mistakes when you're nervous, but I believe nervousness, and almost like an anxiety about stuff, is just your way, yourself being cautious, right? Like anything. If you're not a little nervous about something, you're probably not giving your best, is my opinion. Like if I'm going on stage and I'm talking to people about teaching real estate or something, if I'm not a little bit nervous, I probably shouldn't be doing it, because that means I probably don't care enough. So the same thing with a deal. If I'm not a little nervous, I probably don't care enough. I need to have that's my opinion. You know what I mean? I have to, the nerves show that I care, and it's just me paying attention to the details is what I believe.
Yeah,
but it doesn't stop me.
I agree. I mean, every time I get in front of a big crowd that I'm talking to, you know, I don't want to disappoint the crowd, and I don't want people to think, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So a little bit of nervousness kind of gets you fueled up to actually perform a little bit better.
Exactly.
If you're not taking a little bit of a risk and growing yourself over the time, I mean, that's the most important thing. I mean, and it's very easy to get overconfident and make mistakes. I mean,
very.
So over the years, let's say, how many deals have you flipped, wholesale? I mean, how many deals have you been involved in, real estate deals?
Involved in wholesale, everything over 1,500.
Over 15.
But I stopped counting a while back. But yeah, most of those are wholesales. I did wholesaling for many, many years, even though I started with rehabbing first. Probably over 1,000 wholesales. Yeah, so mostly wholesales, but over 1,500 total.
Okay, so 1,500, and so let me ask this question. We're about to close one, I think, today.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
No, we'll get it closed. Don't worry about that.
Awesome.
Are you nervous on this one?
Actually, this one's one of my favorite, because this one, I mean, man, it doesn't need much work. We picked it up really good. We captured $76,000 in equity. I think it needs like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of just minor updating and repairs to get it like 100. And I mean, no, this one's probably the least nerve-wracking of them all.
Yeah, okay. But
yeah, this one's actually a really good one.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, nervousness as far as it's another liability that you're responsible for.
Yes. So, I mean, the key that we always tell all of our newer investors that watch these episodes and everything is, you know, you got to take that first step into the unknown and kind of trust the process that, you know, you've got. If you build your team around you, you know, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your team. You've got a pretty daggum good team around you, right? The people that you've been working with for years, right? Talk,
definitely.
Talk a little bit about your team that you've got around you.
Okay, so I just recently reparted with one of my best friend George Mata. We worked together for years and years and years, and he went off and he actually started his own wholesale company, went and did developing on his own. And then we recently partnered back up. We did a lot of wholesaling together. Like we had multiple $1 million wholesaling years together. So him coming back and working with me is really exciting. And we're kind of moving more into the purchasing of multifamily single family and multifamily. So it's really good working with him again. And you've had a chance to work with him on this deal right here. Yeah. He's really good at the stuff that I'm not. You know what I mean? He's the details person on the back. I'm the more the big picture manager and the relationships person. Mm-hmm. And he really, you know, sometimes he doesn't like to deal with people. You know what I mean? And I'm a people person, and he likes to deal with the details, and I don't. So that works really good. And then we have a acquisition manager, a lead manager managing our team, Cheryl, who works with our VAs and works with our acquisition team. And she makes sure that our marketing's going out, that our calls are getting handled, and our text messages are going out, and all of our marketing. And on the wholesaling side, that we keep leads coming in for the business. So she's a big part of our team on the lead management side, the marketing side. George is more on the management side, the deal doing side. And then, like I said, I'm kind of the overall big picture relationship person. So that's the main people in our team right now. The three main people in our team right now. and then we have a bunch of VAs that work for us out of the Philippines and everything like that to keep everything going.
Let's talk about your VAs a little bit, if you don't mind. How did you train them?
Very slowly, very cautiously. Lots of videos, lots of Zoom calls. The thing about virtual assistants over the years that I've realized is they are very good workers. They're just as good as anybody you could get here in the United States if you take the time to train them properly. Okay. A lot of people want to just hire somebody, hire a VA and say, hey, generate some leads for me. I need to close some deals, generate some leads for me. And if you don't tell them, hey, I need you to pull this list, I need you to skip trace this list, I need you to do this, do that, send these text messages, answer these calls, respond like this, and then tell me what they say. You have to be very detailed in your requests from the VAs, because they are very skilled, but you have to relay what you want from them very detailed.
Understood. So you run a club. It's called Prosperity Group, correct?
Yes.
You've had that for how long now? I know at least 5 years, 5 to 6 years, correct? Or has it been longer than that?
Oh, since 2012.
Okay, since 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
And that
8 years, 9 years now.
That group is designed to train wholesalers. Am I correct in my assumption on that?
Well, it's an all-around education platform that is based off of wholesaling, because that's what a lot of people think, is that we're just wholesaling, that we just teach wholesaling or mostly teach wholesaling. We teach as the baseline to start your business. I believe everything starts with wholesaling, because that's how I started, and it's the least risk. It was the way I built up capital to start getting into more deals. So I really believe in that method and that way of doing it. But we do talk and do teach about purchasing rental properties, purchasing and holding multifamilies, because wealth is made when you hold, and that's just a wealth that you can't build any other way without holding real estate. You know, I mean, I think that's been proven time and time again through the history of the United States.
Absolutely, 100% the truth. You can make a ton of money off of flipping properties, and eventually the natural progression is to go from flipping properties to holding. Holding is going to be your long-term wealth, mailbox money when you're 65, sitting at home, don't want to work anymore. You don't have to, because you've got the opportunity to buy and hold, get them paid off, put them on a 30 or 15-year note, and by the time you're ready to retire, you've got all this mailbox passive income coming in, and that's the way to go. I mean, in my personal opinion, and the market is showing that.
Oh yeah, I mean, equity, you can't outgrow equity. No. You're not going to beat the way equity grows.
No, you're not. And that's the most positive thing that you could teach anybody is, hey, long-term hold, long-term hold, long-term hold. I tell you the biggest thing that I have when I try to teach new investors, you know, I mean, we try to teach as much as we can here at Jet Lending while we're closing loans as well, especially the new investors that we get to come in, is about, you know, hey, you need to be your own wholesaler to your property. So I don't want you to go too much into it, because I don't want you to give away all the secrets, but can you give a little insight to how wholesaling works?
Into wholesaling?
Yeah, how wholesaling works.
Oh, so it's actually very simple.
Yeah,
it's contracting a piece of property, a real piece of property, and assigning or selling your rights to that contract with another contract called an assignment contract. Okay. That's really all wholesaling is. You're never buying a property. You're never owning a property. You are only selling your rights with an assignment contract to another contract, which is your purchase contract.
Okay. So how do you find the contracts?
How do you find the properties to contract?
Yeah. How do you find the properties to contract?
Now that's marketing. And I believe that's what I've been really good at. And people say that I'm a really good wholesaler. I'm a really good this, really good. I think the biggest thing that I am is I'm a really good marketer. And I've been a really good marketer since day one, because I go big on marketing. You know, when I started doing bandit signs, we did 100, 200 every single Friday. When we started doing direct mail, we started sending out 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 postcards. When we started doing text messages and voicemails and all that, we started doing 30, 40, 50,000 of those. I think whatever it is, whatever marketing you're doing, you have to do it big if you want to really be successu in wholesaling or in any business, really.
And this is what kills me the most. And no offense to anybody, but you've got to, you know, the market is saturated with investors. I mean, it is. There's a lot of them out there. Some of them are successful, some of them are not. Everyone that has been successful learns how to market themselves. If you're sitting back behind a computer waiting for, and no offense, waiting for a wholesaler to send you a property, typically you're not going to be as successful as those guys that are out doing what your program teaches on how to be a wholesaler. And I think a lot of people are missing that, you know, like, hey, how do I find properties? How do I find properties? Well, shoot, AC could teach you, right?
Yeah, I've had lots of investors come to us that they don't even necessarily want to wholesale. They want to find, like, they're already buying deals from wholesalers and they want to find the way to go around the wholesaler, to do the marketing themselves. So we have investors that come to us and what they find is when you do a lot of marketing like that, you come across, if you're doing it properly, you come across a lot of leads. You don't want all those leads, and then you can just wholesale the ones you don't want and cherry pick the ones you do want.
Exactly.
And I think that's what a lot of investors end up finding out when they do start to take control of their marketing, is that they truly have control. You cherry pick what you want, and you can still make money off of what you don't want.
I think the most important thing that we've touched on is you got to actually do the work. You can't just sit back and call yourself an investor or call yourself a insurance agent, a lender. You've got to actually do the work and learn your craft, you know, especially if you're wanting to make, you know, enough money to call this a profitable, I don't know, career or whatever you want to call it, or anything that's going to make you money long term. You've got to put the work in.
Oh yeah, you can only fake it till you make it so far.
Yeah.
But eventually your lack of expertise, your lack of knowledge, your lack of ingenuity in the field will be brought to the surface and you'll be exposed. Yeah. I mean, because you have to be creative. You have to be a problem solver. And if you're not, you're one of those people that's just sitting back waiting, like you said, waiting for a wholesaler to bring you a deal or waiting for something, like you're not being proactive enough to be successful. Yes.
I mean, in lending 101, there's things that we have to, you have to make split decisions. Like last night we were working on your file, you know, trying to get it across the finish line. I mean, some lenders out there will just sit back and say, oh, well, he wants it to close tomorrow. Well, he didn't get me this stuff. I'll call him tomorrow. I mean, you've got to make the client happy. You know, you've got to make, you know, there's other people that are in line, not just you. You've got Sebastian, you've got the title company, you've got an insurance company, you've got all these people that are waiting to get paid. You can't sit on the sidelines and say, you know what, I'm going to wait till tomorrow to get this done. You know, it's after hours. It's putting in the work. It's actually saying, you know, I'm going to help these guys out because I know that they want to get paid just like I want to get paid, and I want to make my money. And Jet Lending wants to make their money, you know, and AC wants to get this house, get it in his name, get the little bit of rehab that needs to be done, and go to a long-term loan.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, what keeps you I'm not going to use the word motivation because I don't, I was in the Army for 21 years. You know that, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And one thing that we learned in the Army is you got to stay motivated, right? But I don't like that word. I never liked it in the military. Motivation to me is like it's not always there for you. It's not always there for you. Motivation is, it comes and it goes. I would like to, what keeps you disciplined?
Oh man, that's a tricky one. Because discipline is what keeps you going when motivation isn't there, right?
Right.
Well, so for motivation, I would say it's my family, like my children, my wife. Sound cliche, but to me, it's not I gotta go do this because they gotta eat this and that. I mean, obviously you wanna provide, but in our case, it's more of, for me, it's more like I want to provide a lifestyle. It's not just I want to make sure you have food on the table today. Like, so my motivation is providing a lifestyle that I didn't have when I grew up. I mean, and making sure my children don't ever have to worry about the financial issues, that kind of stuff. So that's what my motivation is. Now, I'm not the most disciplined person. I guess I do have a lot more discipline than I give myself credit for, because a lot of people around me say, man, you keep going, even when even when I don't think I'm really trying that hard or moving forward, people around me are like, man, you're always thinking of the next thing. You're always trying to come up with the next idea, and I think that for me is just a natural thing. Like, and it's just pushed by me wanting to do more of what I like to do, and the fact that I do love what I'm doing. I think if I didn't like what I'm doing, I don't think I would be as disciplined. I don't think I would be as successful. I don't think I would be as motivated. Does that make sense, I guess?
Yeah, it makes sense. You just got to be as disciplined as possible to keep doing those things. And I think when you love what you're doing, that right there alone is where the discipline comes in. I love doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to say that when I first started out that I loved it when I first started out, but I grew to love it, and because I think it was more of a learning curve. Like, I don't understand this, so I don't love it. But once you start understanding your craft and learning your craft and becoming, I dare say, an expert in your craft, then you can start to love it. And that's where the discipline comes in, because you've got to learn what you're doing and know every aspect of it to become great at it and actually love doing it.
I think you hit it right on the head. And I think that's very similar to wholesaling and investing in general, because when you first start, you're just going through the actions and going through the motions and trying to do the work. And then as you get good at what you're doing, it becomes second nature, and you recognize a deal and you recognize the repairs you have to do without having to stress about, oh my God, how much is this going to cost to repairs? Like, I can walk into a house now, and I walk into a house and I go, oh, I think this is going to be about 25 grand. And then I bring in the contractor, and the contractor's, like, we're about 23.5. You know what I mean? Like,
you hit a home run right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at estimating the repairs just by looking at what I got to do and estimating it in my head, and I can pretty much hit it right off the bat like that. But that's from years of experience, whereas, like you said, when you first started, it's not that easy. It's not fun because you're just learning it and going through the motions and learning your craft. But once you get that down, then it's like anything. Like, if you're good at basketball, good at baseball, like when you get out there and get in your zone, you just flow with the game, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely correct. And I'm sure there's people out there that are going, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, I know LeBron did not become great just overnight. and I know Michael Jordan was not great just by showing up. He put in the work. I mean, if you watch that thing, that ESPN special about Jordan, that 9-part special, I mean, he was talking about he'd come and be working out 6 hours before anybody else would show up, you know.
Oh,
and
yeah. You got to have that beast mentality.
Yeah, and he demanded it out of his co-players as well. Like, look, if you're going on the court with me, your ass better show up when I show up because we're going to win championships. And I
think that's what it takes in business too, and a lot of people don't relate the two because how come it's okay for somebody to look at that and go, oh yeah, he's tough on the court, and man, he's the best basketball player because he was so driven. But people don't think of it like that in business. But you got to be like that in business. Like you got to be pushing your teammates, pushing your coworkers. You know, like
pushing everybody.
How good do you want to be?
Yeah, and that honestly gets taken for granted, especially when you try to push your coworkers. Like, you know, hey, look, we want to get you to the next level. Let's get you there. Let's get you to the next level. You know, I mean, it can become frustrating at times, you know, trying to keep up with the LeBron Jameses and the Michael Jordans and your favorite player that's now at Tampa Bay.
Tommy Brady.
Tom Brady. Are you still
greatest of all time?
Are you still a Patriots fan?
I'm a Brady fan. I'm a Patriots fan because I like Cam Newton too. I'm a quarterback fan. I played quarterback a little bit, and so I love the position. I love what it takes to play that position, to be able to read a defense and really do it well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that's why I admire Tom Brady so much. It's not that he won so many, because it's about what he had to do to win so many. Because how come nobody else has won that many? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I hear everybody say, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's better than Brady. Show me the rings, because you got it. Like it's okay to have the skills. He may be more skilled than Tom Brady, more physically gifted than Tom Brady.
I don't believe that.
Do what it took to win more than Tom Brady.
I don't believe that. And I'll tell you this, I was not a Tom Brady fan until he moved to Tampa Bay and took him from zero to nothing. And then I was like, because I always thought, you know, there's something up there at New England. They, you know, all the rumors of cheating, Deflategate, all that stuff. But when he can go to another team and take them from zero to a Super Bowl championship, I'm sold.
I think the same thing you just said was the same thing for a lot of people around the country. I think that was probably the best thing that could have happened for him. I don't think he wanted to leave, but I think he got forced, and he did it to prove a point. But I think he proved a point to a lot of people that it wasn't a system over there, and it wasn't Belichick's system. It was Belichick's system, but Brady was the ultimate Belichick player. Yes. He's like Michael Jordan. He gives 100%.
Yes, and you know it proved it. But you know, he goes to another team. Belichick and his team were last place, something like that last year. I mean, hey, look, I know it was a rebuilding year. I know Tom Brady went and did great, wonderful things. We'll see what the future has for Belichick and the Patriots. But hey, man, I think it's going to be a repeat. I could be wrong, but you know,
I think there's a great possibility for that.
So
eyes on 8.
Let's kind of segue to what do you do in your free time to kind of unwind and get yourself, I guess, decompressed, because you know, dealing with real estate, you know, can be very hectic, very, very stressful. What do you do in your free time?
Man, you know, I guess our free time is really just spent with the kids and the family. You know, I mean, we have a lot of kids, so we're always doing something. You know, weekends are usually for sports and stuff like that. We're usually at jiu-jitsu stuff, soccer games, you know, a lot of family time. And that's actually really relaxing for me and fun. And at the same time, it's like, I still like real estate is fun for me. Like even on my, like sometimes on a Saturday morning, if I wake up before everybody else, I'll go take a cruise and go drive by a project that's being worked on, or a rental property that that's just going on the market. So I really do love real estate. So it's not like it's a job for me. So even real estate is still fun for me in my free time. But a lot of our free time is sports and kids.
Yeah.
And that's fun for me.
I'm the same way. It's just when the sun comes up, I'm up. The wife and kids will be sleeping. I'll go out on the back porch, put the waterfalls on, and get my laptop, and I'll start working on files on Saturday morning. Sunday, I kind of leave open, but Johnny and Eddie are probably my biggest mentors in this real estate, especially Eddie. And Johnny teaches me a lot of stuff. He's taught me a ton of stuff, but the main thing that they have taught me in the last 2 years is letting go a little bit and having fun. I guess when you've got military delved into you, it's a job and it's not fun. So I had the approach of I've got to keep working, I've got to keep working, I've got to keep producing, I've got to keep, and didn't actually take some time to enjoy what I was doing, and decompressing a little bit. And Eddie and Johnny both have kind of helped with that. They'll tell you, you just got to enjoy it a little bit. And I tell you what I love to go do. I love to go drive my car. I love to go hunting, and I love to go anything near a body of water. If I can get near a body of water, I'm happy. So,
I love that.
So tell us about your event that you have once a month.
We have a networking event once a month. It's a real estate networking mixer. So, we started those in 2012 also. We were probably the longest running, besides Eddie's from SRO's, y'all's events. One of the longest running networking events in Houston for real estate. But recently we changed it up to more of a mixer feel. After coming back from pandemic, we've been trying things out at this bar in the Heights area over there called McIntyre's. And it's been a really good event. We've been getting 300-400 RSVPs every month. We've been getting a good turnout. Mostly trying to just get everybody back together and mixing and mingling to try to get some relationships back together to start doing some business now that everything was starting to open up again. Hopefully it stays open here with everything that's ramping up. I know, right? But that's a little scary time. But yeah, I mean, it was good because, and I think a lot of people were ready.
Hey, we're jamming out.
All right, my phone went off. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think a lot of people were ready for that because, like I said, a lot of people came out. A lot of business has been getting done there. A lot of people have been buying deals. A lot of people have been putting up money to get deals done. This is where we got the deal that we just bought with y'all.
Yeah, and I actually love the new format, to be honest with you. I love coming to it. You're one of my favorite events. Like I couldn't come last month. I couldn't come last month because I actually took a little bit of that R&R that we were just talking about, and took the family on the first family vacation over to Destin. Me and Johnny went over there and spent a week, and we just had a great time. But the McIntyre's event, I'm telling you, is so much better. Not that your event in the past wasn't great. This new format is just, it's more laid back, more of hey, get to know people, sit there and talk. It's a great atmosphere. A lot of people are I'm getting good feedback from your event. Everybody that I talked to before we even get to talk, they're like, man, this is awesome. This is great. So
yeah, awesome. Thank you. I mean, yeah, no, I really like it. It's we just changed up the whole agenda there. We don't have anything, no real agenda. We don't have anything. We're not selling anything. We used to have seminars that we would promote and say, hey, we could teach you this and that. But now it's more just, hey, just come, mix, mingle, meet people. And it's just more of a fun environment.
Yeah, it is. You, sir, have not been to the new Super Investor meeting.
I was trying to go 2 days ago and got the COVID.
You and your crew. I always love it when you bring your crew. Because they're so much fun to hang out with, and when you bring all the guys, but you've kind of downsized now. You're two, I forgot their names. What's her name? She always works your front table.
Yuvia
and her husband came. They've been all 3 times. Love those 2 girls. That her and her husband, they're awesome. But you, sir, have not been to the new Super Investor meeting.
No, this was supposed to be my first time going this week, and the vid stopped me because I was actually sick for the first one. I had something. I think I had a cold, and then the second one I wasn't in town, and then this was going to be my first one.
Okay, well, don't miss August 18th.
No, I'm gonna make sure take all my my anti-vaxxes and everything. Oh my, no vaccines. I'm not taking no vaccines. I'll take all my my Tylenol.
My vitamins and my minerals.
My vitamins and my minerals, right?
So, kind of segue towards the end here. We've talked about how to get started. We talked about how you got started. We talked about how you stay motivated. But there's one last thing. If you could go back and change anything in your adult life, what would that be?
You know what? I think about this a lot. This is actually a question that I bring up to myself a lot, and I wouldn't change anything because I think if you change anything along the way, you're not the person that you are sitting in front of you right now. Like me right now, I wouldn't be me if I didn't go through everything I went through. For an example, my aunt is like my mother, right? She raised me. She's the one that has helped me out through my life and been there like a mother. Because I was raised by my grandmother and grandfather, and when they passed away, she's always been there like a mother for me. But she always tells me, she's like, don't you wish you could have gotten this real estate stuff and learned all this without ever having to go to prison or out doing all the stuff you did when you were young? And I was like, well, I don't think I would be me, and I don't think I would be the person I am if I did everything that I went through in life. If I didn't go through that the way that I went through it, I wouldn't be the me today. I wouldn't appreciate things the way I do. Who knows?
Yeah. You're
appreciating things the way that I do is a big part of why I feel the way I do, why I'm grateful for the stuff I have, because of what I've had to go through. So I just think if you change anything, you change the person, and I wouldn't want to do that.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I get asked that question a lot from some of my military buddies. I'm not gonna lie, I make a lot more money now than I did when I was in the military. A lot more. I mean, we're talking. It's not even comparative. I mean, it's not. And I get asked a lot of my buddies. They'll call me and say, if you could go back and change your military history, knowing what you know now, would you have gotten out sooner? And there's a lot of memories there. There's a lot of good times. There's a lot of bad times. There's a whole lot of bad times. There's 5 combat deployments. There's 5 years of more than that leading up to the deployment and being on the deployment. There's 5 years of growth there, and anxieties and dealing with turmoil and dealing with traumatic events and dealing with things that, in the grand scheme of things, that you probably wouldn't want your kids or your daughter or anything to deal with, but it's problem solving. Mm-hmm. So when you got somebody that's complaining about a closing, that's a little minor than you got one of your new troops with a baby on the way, and the wife's may have a miscarriage, and he's over in Afghanistan, and you've got to calm him down. That's a little bit of a difference, because I need him to stay focused on the mission, while he's here. Hey, yeah, we're going to get you back because you're having an emergency, but while you're here, I need you to stay focused on the mission. So, just like you said, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change any of it because, yeah, I might have missed out on some opportunities in my life. I might have missed out on the fact that, I'm 45 years old. I've got a baby girl, and we're trying to have another one and I'll probably be 46 when that one gets here. I keep telling my wife, I was like, hell, hopefully I make it to the graduation, shoot, I'd hate to miss that. But I think that, those life events have also made me a better father, and having a kid at this, you just had, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all have how many together?
We have one together, but we have 5 boys. I had 2 boys. She had 3 boys. So we had 5 boys and now our first daughter together. Okay.
And the daughter totally changed your life, right?
Oh, completely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got me wrapped around her finger.
Yeah, mine too. And I think if I was 30 years ago, let's say 15 years ago, at 30, I had an opportunity to get married then. I think that at that time in my life, at the circumstances that I was going through, I don't think I'd have been a good of a dad as I am now, because I can concentrate more on providing for her, giving her the attention she needs, and giving her, a more focused Rob compared to the guy that was, in his 30s. That's everything happens for a reason for people. And I think I thank God every day that I have a healthy little girl and a stepdaughter. They are truly a blessing.
Yeah, I don't think you can change anything, because if you change one day of your military career, you might never meet your wife.
Yeah,
that's the kind of things I think about. So it's like, that's why I say I wouldn't change a thing. And like, knowing dude, I love you the way you are. I wouldn't want you to change for a thing.
And I love you the way you are. I mean, AC, you probably one of my favorite people that I've ever met. Upfront, honest, tells your story like it is, not ashamed of it. I've had tribulations in my life, and I'm not ashamed of it. I 11 years ago, July 31st, I tried to take my own life. I mean, I'm not ashamed of that, because I went and got help. I went and noticed that I had a problem. I was 3 deployments in. I was in a very stressful recruiting job that basically, like, you need to produce every month, and trust me, when you're in sales of something that's not touchable, tasteable, feelable, when you're trying to sell a career or sell a lifestyle, that's much harder than selling a hard money loan. I can tell you that. And, I went through those trials. I went through those tribulations. And there's some videos that are on my Facebook feed from 10 years ago. And I'm like, that guy is dead. He really did die on that beach in Miami. He died because the guy that came out on the other end is a total different person. And my confidence got better. My approach to relationships got better. Setting proper boundaries, doing the right things that every relationship, even friendships, require to be successful. That right there changed me. So that in a way, I did die and was reborn, in a way. And I'm not ashamed of that. And you shouldn't be ashamed of your past. And that's one of the reasons why I think you're one of the most genuine people in the industry, because you tell your story and you're not ashamed of it. And I'm not ashamed of you by no means, and I don't think anybody else is, because you get out in front of it and say, hey, yeah, this happened to me. So what? So what? This is what I'm doing now. This is what I've made myself better. So
yeah, I don't think you can look at where you've been. You can only look at where you're going.
Exactly. AC, thank you so much for coming on. I know that you've got to go to a closing today. Hopefully, we will get this closed.
Can we get that? Can I do that mobile?
Yeah, you just got to call them and tell them to come set it up. Okay.
Awesome. I'll work on that right now.
Okay, and I know Chelsea's reaching out to you for one more item. But hey, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I really hope you get to feeling better and get this past you. I was dealing with it this time last year, so trust me, I know what you're going through. I know the anxiety of it. But it's just that one more thing that's going to make you better on the other side.
Of course. Let's do it.
Guys, next week we got Trigger Points next Friday. Al Torres, the world famous appraiser, is coming on to give us his insight on, what he thinks appraisals look like and how he does his business. Hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. AC, again, thank you so much. And we will see y'all next week. Thank you, guys.
Later, guys.